I want to tell everyone, if you're thinking about getting married, do it early. Try your best to get married before the age of 28. Because once you hit your 30s, you'll start to see how things change. The quality of blind dates goes down, and the number of potential matches drops too. People will no longer take the time to consider compatibility. As long as a guy is single, they'll push him toward you, regardless of whether you two are a good match. The matchmakers or well-meaning family members will just assume you're too old to be picky. They think, she should be grateful anyone's still interested. Once you're past 30, even if you're an accomplished woman, unless you're extremely lucky, your dating pool narrows significantly. You'll only come across 3 types: men with strong family backgrounds but questionable character, men with decent personalities but poor financial conditions, or divorced men, some with kids, some without. Your choices become painfully limited. Sometimes I sit alone and wonder, how did I end up letting myself reach this age without getting married? I loved with all my heart. I was loyal. I worked hard. I gave it my all in relationships and in my career. Shouldn't people who try their best be rewarded with at least a little happiness? But no, things haven't worked out for me. Nothing seems to go smoothly. Still, I often try to give myself positive affirmations, like, everything happens for a reason. Everything will somehow benefit me. But now that I'm 35, I really don't know what that supposed benefit is. What kind of result has this so-called reason given me, other than being unmarried at 35? My parents are stuck too. They want to push me to find someone, but they're scared it'll break me if they push too hard. So they hold back, but I can feel their silent worry. And me, if I pretend not to care, it doesn't work either.
I'm 35.
I do want to get married, but the truth is, even when I'm ready to open my heart, there's no one around. People say I'm too picky, but I'm really not. My standards aren't high. I've cried my heart out more than once. I've felt all the sadness I can feel. But after that, life has to go on. I have to keep making money, keep taking care of myself. When you don't have someone by your side, at the very least, you need to live a life you can feel proud of. And so I continue. But if I could leave one message to the younger women, it would be this. If you want love, if you want marriage, don't wait too long. Start early, before time takes that choice away from you. Let me be frank. I see so many of these women, born in 84, 86, even as far back as 82 or 89. They're all pushing 40 now and still unmarried. People like to joke about 1982 Lafite wine being a rare, exquisite treasure. But these women aren't fine wine. They're more like a glob of 1982 phlegm. Old, stuck, and unpleasant. And what's their biggest problem? It's pure, unadulterated delusion. Go to any matchmaking corner and their list of demands is identical. The man must have a bachelor's degree, own a house and a car, and on top of all that, he must be handsome, positive, and have a stable job. But they never stop to ask themselves the most obvious question: why would a perfect man like that choose a 40-year-old woman? He has money, not a sickness. He could easily find a 20-year-old who wants the exact same things, so why would he ever settle for them? They are textbook examples of refined egoism. They believe marriage is nothing more than a tool to upgrade their lifestyle, to literally improve their meals. If getting married doesn't make their life demonstrably better than when they were single, they see no point in it. Don't be fooled by the BMWs and Audis they drive. It's a facade. Many are drowning in debt with very little actual disposable income. They refuse to face reality and are incapable of putting themselves in a man's shoes. They're completely brainwashed by TV shows like Nothing But 30, deluding themselves into thinking they're still in their prime. They need to wake up. The streets are now full of girls born after 2005. In the brutal reality of the marriage market, these older women have lost all their value. No one is interested anymore. They have no marital value left. Perhaps the only value they have is for a nucleic acid test. But the worst part, the most revealing thing, is their toxic mindset. If a man doesn't spend money on them, they immediately accuse him of bai piao, a term for getting services, usually sexual, for free. The very fact that they can utter that word proves they see themselves as a commodity, like a prostitute. If you treat men like clients, then what does that make you? You're devaluing yourself, turning love and relationships into a crude business transaction. So go on then, name your price. Is it $200 or $300 a session? It's ridiculous. A woman with genuine self-respect would never, ever think, let alone speak, like that.
带大家看看安徽，真是相亲。
The meeting began with a palpable touch of awkwardness. The young woman, born in 2003, was visibly nervous as this was her very first blind date. The young man and the host arrived at her home, and after a few customary ice-breaking compliments like, "You look much better in person than in your photos," the conversation hesitantly started. From the outset, both seemed pleased with each other's physical appearance, a small but promising start. The conversation quickly moved to the practicalities of life, jobs and finances. The man confidently introduced himself as an automation engineer working at a nearby factory. He stated his salary was respectable, over 10,000 renminbi a month, and though he hadn't bought a house yet, he had a solid plan. He was confident he could afford a Western-style house for around 2 million renminbi in the future. In contrast, the woman revealed she was an after-school tutor, earning a more modest 4,000 to 5,000 renminbi per month. She expressed a seemingly relaxed attitude towards property, stating that it wasn't a major issue whether her future partner owned a home or not. However, when asked about her ideal partner, her relaxed demeanor shifted to a very specific set of expectations. She was clear. She likes tall, sunshine-type guys with a vibrant, youthful vibe. Her dream relationship, she explained, is one where her boyfriend pampers her like a little child, a little princess. She stressed that she pays meticulous attention to the details in how she's treated. Then came the non-negotiable term. She had a hard requirement that her boyfriend must be skilled at photography, able to take beautiful, aesthetically pleasing pictures of her whenever they go out to eat or travel. The conversation took its decisive and final turn when the topic shifted to past relationships. The woman shared that her previous relationships were all during her school years and were long distance, meaning she had never lived with a partner. When she posed the same question to him, the man was candid, admitting that he had, in fact, lived with an ex-girlfriend before, though he added it wasn't for a long time. This stark difference in life experience appeared to be the crucial, unbridgeable gap. In the end, the woman gracefully but firmly declined. She wrapped her rejection in compliments, telling him he was a good person with a gentle personality who deserved someone better, before delivering the final verdict: "We are probably not a good fit." Although the man seemed capable of meeting many of her specific, demanding requirements, the single difference in their romantic histories created an insurmountable barrier for her. They politely agreed to exchange contact information to remain friends, bringing the short-lived blind date to a civil but definitive close.
我是88年的985硕士学历。
I was born in 1988, graduated with a master's degree from a 985 university, but now, at 36, I still haven't found a life partner. I realize I have obvious shortcomings. I'm no longer young and my personality isn't easygoing. I've accepted that I might not find the right person, and I don't want to burden anyone's life either. Through my life's failures, I want to share some sincere advice with young women. Always have a realistic view of yourself. Don't blame men for being unfaithful, as often we ruin our own chances. You need to learn to be independent, manage your own finances, and control your emotions. Men are often busy with big life goals, so they can't always cater to our small emotions. They usually look for a woman who puts them first, cares about their feelings, and even supports their career. If you can't care for and be attentive to a man, they'll wonder what value you bring to them. They don't need someone just to be a childbearing tool. So, take advantage of your youth to change bad habits, like a bad temper, and learn to understand and care for your man. Think about what they need and what you can do to be a good partner. If not, you might end up like me, living a life that's not what you hope for. I hope all of you will find happiness and live a fulfilling life.
一个女人想上架，我告诉你，具备2个点，这2个点是一个基本点。
Let me tell you this, if a woman wants to rise up the shelf, there are only two basic requirements: decent looks and a good personality. You don't need to look like a celebrity, but your appearance should at least be above average. You also don't need to be naturally sweet, but your temper and demeanor must not make people uncomfortable. That's the bare minimum. Second, and more importantly, your mindset has to match the kind of person you want to date. Whether you're an older single woman or someone eyeing a high-level partner, you need to understand this world is just a messy stage play. Those so-called wealthy elites and powerful men, strip away the glamour, and they're just humans like everyone else. You need to deglamorize them. You must stop putting rich or high-status men on a pedestal. In fact, even if you're from a rural background, with no education or connections, as long as you can confidently interact with them without awe, without servility, you're already 80% of the way there. Many wealthy men, no matter how elite they seem, don't have very high standards. If they're physically attracted to you, if you have decent looks, a good figure, a soft tone, and know how to flirt, act a little vulnerable, and manage relationships, then yes, you have a shot. But here's the problem. Most women overcomplicate things. They focus too much on credentials, education, salary, resume, and forget that confidence, calmness, and emotional composure matter more. You know what I said is true, but very few women actually dare to act that way. You could use this same mindset to attract an average man or a millionaire. The principle is the same. But most of you don't believe it. You don't even try. When faced with a wealthy man, most women either freeze up or try too hard to please.
Why?
Because deep down, you don't think you're good enough. You act as if you're beneath him. And once that mindset sets in, even if he treats you kindly at first, over time he'll feel like he's doing you a favor by dating you. And the moment he feels that, he's already halfway out the door. Even the most well-mannered, respectful, equal-minded, rich man will begin to question whether staying with you is a loss for him. So no, you don't need to tell people, "Oh, rich guys chased me before." You don't need to pretend. You just need to show up calm, composed, and relaxed like you belong. Just like when you walk into a luxury store. Don't act like it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. Let your presence say, "I've been here before. This is normal to me." Many of you are so unfamiliar with high-end environments that the moment a rich guy takes you somewhere upscale, you panic. You look lost, your confidence cracks, and your whole demeanor collapses. That's not attractive. No one wants to date someone who acts like a child they have to coach. You need to see the world early. I'm not talking about traveling or Instagramming your vacations. I'm talking about getting used to refinement, getting familiar with fine dining, luxury settings, elegant behavior. Not to show off, but to get your mindset used to it. So, when someone takes you somewhere nice, you don't act like a lost village girl who's been brought into a castle. It's about your core belief. I'm not beneath this. Even if he's wealthy, even if he's famous, even if you came from nowhere, you're still equal on a human level. The worst thing you can do is act like you've just won the lottery by being with him. Don't let him feel that you see him as a ticket to a better life. Instead, make him feel that being with you isn't a loss, that he didn't settle, that he's gaining something real: kindness, companionship, sincerity, calmness, loyalty. And here's the thing. Rich people can fall in love just like anyone else. It's not always about looks or pedigree. A billionaire might adopt a sick stray dog, not because he couldn't afford a purebred, but because he had love to give. That same man could choose you, not because you're perfect, but because you made him feel seen, heard, and understood. So stop overthinking. Stop self-sabotaging. Wealthy men don't always want glamorous women. Sometimes they want warmth, peace, and someone who won't make them feel used. Be that woman, not by being fake or submissive, but by knowing your worth and holding your ground. And if you're still young, don't waste time looking up to people.
Look straight at them.
And walk beside them.
所有出轨方他都会找到
Almost every woman who cheats finds a way to justify herself. She'll come up with endless reasons to paint her betrayal as something understandable. She'll say, "You didn't treat me well. You couldn't connect with me emotionally. You didn't give me emotional value. So, that's why she cheated." Isn't that laughable? Cheating while being married isn't just a mistake, it's a fatal blow. It shatters families, it devastates partners. Even if time passes and some wounds fade, the scars left behind never disappear. One tiny crack, one suspicion, and the trauma comes rushing back. Some people break down completely after being betrayed by the person they trusted the most. They're trapped in regret and heartbreak, unable to escape. If you don't love him anymore, then divorce him. You had a choice. You chose not to take it. Instead, you cheated. And that's not just a mistake. That's a decision you made. And once you've made that decision, don't push the blame onto someone else. Don't act righteous. Don't pretend you're the one who's hurt.
You chose to betray.
You turned your back on someone who once gave you their whole heart. If your marriage is truly making you miserable, if you no longer love the person you're with, then fine.
Leave.
Go find someone you love. But do it openly, honestly. Don't use cheating as the excuse, as the price of your so-called freedom. You think cheating will bring you lasting happiness? You think it'll change your emotional life for the better?
No.
What you're feeling now might be short-term pleasure, but you have no idea how many people are paying the price for your fleeting joy. And eventually you will pay too, 10 times over, maybe 100. Let's face it, most people who cheat are selfish and irresponsible. They don't have the courage to leave, and they don't have the integrity to stay. And yet, they wrap themselves in fake nobility, pretending that what they did was human, even understandable. But let me tell you, you don't deserve that halo. Not even close. So, if you've fallen out of love, then let go. There's no need to cheat. Because the person you betrayed, he's hurting. He could accept it if you no longer loved him. But he cannot accept that you used your betrayal to erase everything good that ever existed between you. Don't straddle the line. Don't keep one foot in the marriage while enjoying an affair on the side. Don't let your partner keep sacrificing for you while you give them nothing. No explanation, no apology, just the assumption that you still deserve it all. While they're suffering, falling apart inside, you act like you don't see it. Maybe you really don't see it. Or worse, you do, and you just don't care. He tries to convince himself. Maybe she had her reasons. He lies to himself for the kids, for the family. And all the while, he holds his shattered heart in his hands, begging you to come back, praying for a miracle. He wants you to come home. He still hopes you'll come back and live a normal life with him.
But you?
You never really do. At best, you lie to his face. Sometimes you and your affair partner put on a show together, making him think you've repented. You reignite a small flame of hope in his chest, only to crush it again. This endless emotional roller coaster drains him. It empties every last bit of trust and faith he had in you. So if you no longer love him, if you truly hate everything about the life you once shared, then at least have the courage to say it. I don't love you anymore. I don't want to live with you anymore. That's it. Say it. Say it to the person who once loved you deeply. He deserves at least that much. Please, don't use cheating to hurt someone who once built a home with you, who once believed in your love. If you no longer love, then let go. But cheating? That's not just disrespect. That's cruelty. Cheating is never noble. It's not romantic. It's cowardice. So to all the men out there who are facing this kind of betrayal, if you don't know how to deal with it, feel free to reach out. I'll help you.
Throughout our journey on Chinese emotion, we have traversed a battlefield of expectations, a marketplace of hearts, where human worth seems to be priced by age, assets, and social status. We witnessed the profound bitterness of the 36-year-old woman who came to believe her only value was in serving a man. And we also heard the fiery declaration of the female director who insisted that women must save themselves through absolute independence. These two extremes, one of submission and one of pride, are the very reflection of this deep-seated crisis. So, what is the thread that connects all these stories? From the judged, leftover woman to the dreaming young girl, the cheating partner seeking justification, and the strategist teaching the tactics to marry up, all of them, in their own way, are desperately searching for the answer to a single question: am I worthy? They search for their worth in the eyes of others, in their partner's bank account, or in their compliance with rigid social rules. But they have been looking in all the wrong places. True value is not about being better or worse than someone else. It cannot be measured by a successful marriage or a large fortune. Real worth lies in emotional integrity. It is the self-respect to not turn yourself into a commodity, the courage to leave when love is dead, the empathy to not trample on another's pain, and the wisdom to know that no one can save you but yourself. Perhaps the greatest emotional crisis of our time is not the absence of love from others, but the absence of love and respect for oneself.